All right, our final sketch note for air pollution is all about how CFCs destroy ozone. So I used to teach this just very generally, and then one year there was a very detailed question on the AP test that apparently caused some tears for a few of my students. So we dive in a little bit deeper now. So CFC stands for chlorofluorocarbons, and they were used prior to the 80s as both for like refrigerant and as a propellant. So think like, you know, the big hairspray, the cheap hairspray, Aquanet, that kind of thing. So they would allow those things to be packaged in a bottle very cheaply, and they were a very cheap source of refrigerant, especially for car cooling systems. Okay, so we have these CFCs that are propelled out of the bottle or the container, and then they go up into the atmosphere, and we know that they have a very long residence time. So we've got UV radiation up in the atmosphere. Which is having an impact on these molecules that are hanging out. And it is causing them to break off one molecule at a time. And that releases a chlorine. As we know that chlorofluorocarbons have chlorine in them. So this chlorine is going to act a little bit like when you're playing pool and you shoot the cue ball and it hits something and it kind of breaks up the action or the cluster of balls. So it's going to actually have an impact on these good stratospheric ozone molecules. These are the ones that are protecting us from UV radiation. All right, so it has this impact of bumping into them, and that causes them to split off one of their oxygens and it is going to join up with that chlorine molecule to form chlorine monoxide. All right, and that's not a stable compound, and so it is going to connect with another oxygen atom from the environment, from the atmosphere, and steal that oxygen away to make oxygen gas, O2, which is stable. Okay, and then meanwhile, this chlorine is still free, and it can just go back and go in circles and continue this process of bumping into another ozone and breaking it apart and forming the same compounds. And in fact, one of these released chlorine molecules that's been liberated by UV radiation can destroy 100,000 good ozone molecules. So each time this happens, each one of these has a huge compounded effect because it just resides and persists in the environment and keeps doing that damage. So that is how CFCs and halocarbons destroy ozone.